Classical entertaining the Big Blue of Swampscott. Swampscott coming in looking to make it 2 in a row. Swampscott trying to make it 2 in a row. Both coming off wins. Swampscott, an impressive win over Danvers. Classical, a kind of revenge come from behind win against Marblehead, who turned the tables on them last year here at Manning Bowl. And it will be Classical kicking off to the Big Blue as we get set to get underway. The foot is into the ball. Down at about the 35-yard line. 25-yard line. Brought out to the 35-yard line by Swampscott. Schlafman with the return. So Brian Smith helping out on the stop, out to the 36-yard line. There is a flag on the play, illegal procedure against Classical. So flag against Classical. They're going to talk it over and see if they're going to take the ball or have them re-kick. And it's refused, and Swampscott will take the ball to 36. So at the 36, we expect to see Todd McShay, who had a big day last week throwing 3 touchdown passes, will be the quarterback for the Big Blue. DePietro will be the deep man in the eye. Schlafman is back. And Paul, this might be the first time that Swampscott get just about everybody back in the lineup. They've had some kind of injury to somebody.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to someone before the game, and they said that's exactly it. This is the healthiest they've been.
Woodfork comes in motion to the near side. McShay looking to throw the football. Under pressure, he's going to get hit and knocked down for a loss inside the 30 as Classical was blitzing.
I think that was Keon Coleman coming over the top, John.
It was, and he lost about 8 yards in the play. And Paul, we're going to get the whole stick tonight. We've got everybody here. Dave McCarthy producing as usual, and we're going to have replays and the whole bit. So our medal's going to be tested here tonight. From the 28-yard line, it'll be 2nd down and 18. To give, I believe it was Schlafman. He gets out maybe in the play to the 29, possibly 28 and a half. So 3rd and long for the Big Blue as we're just underway here at Manning Bowl. And we've had Schlafman's been out with injuries. Of course, DePietro missed a game and a half, almost a game and 3/4 against Beverly and Winthrop. And Dave Johnson was out, and he's back. So Woodfork comes in motion to the near side. The pitch is to DePietro. Turns the corner to the outside, looking for a block. Coleman is going to make the hit and knock him down, shy of the original line of scrimmage. Carlos Peralta also helping out.
A couple of great athletic moves on this play as you see it, John. DePietro hurdled the guy, but Keon Coleman also came over the top to make the tackle right there.
Right there, yes. So we'll have our first punt on our first possession, as Swampscott will have to kick it away.
The punts tonight, John, will be no more adventurous than they were last Saturday afternoon.
They certainly cannot be, that's for sure. If nothing else, I bet every coach in the Northeastern Conference worked on punts. Almost blocked. They got an inside, made him rush it a little bit. The ball bounces, picked up by Green at the 25-yard line. He returns just shy of the 35. Good shot right there of Kenny Green, down close and in person. Peter Woodfork downfield to make the hit. And the ball will be at the 34 as Johnson helped out on the stop as well. As you see the replay, Green down there in a hurry. Johnson's the man on top, Woodfork the man on the bottom in the white shirts. Kenny Green, the number 24 in the green. At the 34, it will be the Rams with their first possession. And coming off that big win, they were down. They hadn't scored in 2 out of 3 ball games. They shut out 2 games in a row, and then they had that last big 3 minutes scoring 2 touchdowns to pull out the game against Marblehead. To give to Green. Looked like somebody just got an ankle. As he gets out across the 35 to the 37. And he was just about a step away of making that a long gainer.
Well, the Rams are going into battle without Marcos Echeverria tonight, John, out with that partially separated shoulder, I believe. And he's been a key player for them, especially on defense.
Yeah, he certainly has been. And that's a good point because we talked about Swampscott being the healthiest they've been. The Rams are not. The ball goes to the ground. It looks like, I think it's Schlafman had come up with the football right there. John Schlafman picks up, and Paul looked like he never had the handoff. As you see Schlafman, a good shot of him right on your camera. And here's the replay. And right there you see, he just never, it looked like the handoff was a little bit high. And Chris Mulcahy never had the handle. It went to the ground, and Schlafman comes up with it. And the first break of the ball game goes to the Big Blue, and they'll have it at the classical 36. Looking for Mike Madden, who's been a pleasant surprise since he filled in for DePietro. Has been playing really well in the backfield. And he's in the backfield now. And now a little bit of problems with the Swampscott offense. They had some questions, and Todd McShay calls the timeout as you look at the fans on the Big Blue side. And McShay's going to go talk to Bill Bush. And we have to mention this in his coach Dave Dempsey. I was going to say we have to mention every time we do one of these games. That's the other John Hoffman standing next to Bill Bush to the left. A little smaller than I am. Swampscott comes in at 4-2 overall, 3-2 in the conference. They've won 9 of the last 10 in this series. And in the series, they lead the series 22-19 with one tie. The two losses, of course, coming to the two powers, Beverly and Winthrop, the undefeated teams. But one record that Swampscott may have, Paul, is guys coming back from concussions. DePietro did it last week, and Johnson's doing it this week.
We're seeing more and more of those, John.
Madden and to the far side, along with Locke. Woodfork to the near side. Schlafman, a big hole up the middle. Rambles in deep inside the 15-yard line. So the initial first down of the ball game as he gets inside to about the 13-yard line.
That was a 22-yard run by Schlafman that gives the Big Blue a first down at the Rams 14-yard line.
So it looks like it's about halfway between the 13 and we'll call it the 14.
Nothing fancy there, John, just straight up the middle. And I think Schlafman saw a lot more open field than the fullback expects to see.
Well, it looks like they're trying to spread them way out with the 3 wide receivers and then just send somebody inside. Classical jumps, and we'll just have to see whether they were drawn or whether somebody anticipated a snap count and got caught offside. Classical saying it's Swampscott. And here's Mike Hegan from Lynn saying that's what it is. So nothing fancy. They sent 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 wide receiver to the right, spread them way out, and just a little trap block inside. And Schlafman had, once he got past the initial line of scrimmage, he had all day to run with the football. 1st and 15 now. Madden, the lone running back behind McShay. He gets the carry off the right side. Gets back maybe to the line of scrimmage, the original line of scrimmage.
He was brought down by number 73, Matt Larino.
Matt Larino was the last man in green you see getting up, along with Calvin Johnson. And Coleman is a name we call quite often on defense for the Rams. He's in on a lot of stops. As they're inside the 14, it's actually 2nd down and 10.5. Well, 10 in the length of a football. Clock running, coming up on 6 minutes left to play in the first period. As they send Locke to the near side. Woodfork as a wingback now comes in motion to the near side. McShay looking to throw. Down the middle, he's got the man shy of the goal line.
That's completed from Scott McShay to number 10, Dan Locke.
Danny Locke with the catch.
He was brought down by number 20, Carlos Peralta.
Nice catch by Locke, but he had to reach back a little bit. That's why he wasn't able to push it into the end zone.
Here we see McShay, John, straight drop. He really had something on this ball.
Completion for McShay to Locke.
So the ball is at the 2. First and goal from the 2-yard line. Again, wide receivers to the far side. They're not going to get in.
Badger.
Lorena was at the bottom of the pile. Juan Dolby is also in there.
Talked about injuries, John. I believe Dolby's playing with a broken thumb.
I was just going to say, yes, they weren't sure he was going to play. So talk about Swampscott being healthy. Classical certainly is not. They go back to the power I with Madden, the deep man, behind Schloffman. They give it to Madden off the right side, in, standing up for the touchdown.
That makes the score Big Blue 6, Rams nothing.
So they go 36 yards in 5 plays. They take advantage of the fumble recovery. Madden going in off the right side. And they come back, as you see the replay. Good line blocking, good surge. He was able to go in easily off the right side, and they overcome the offside penalty and push it in and get on the scoreboard first. It will be Todd McShay looking for the extra point. Mike Madden, who scored the touchdown, will be the holder. It's down. A high pop-up is good. Mike Madden did a nice job of getting that ball down. So Classical will find themselves having to play catch-up as Swampscott jumps on the board. 5:01 left to play in the first period. And Classical, who Paul has mentioned, Marco Echevarria not playing with that shoulder separation. They've been shut out 3 out of the last 5 ball games. And I guess when you look at it, it's either a feast or a famine, Paul. They're scoring a goodly number of points, so they're not scoring at all.
Yeah, I'm sure they had to be encouraged by the rally last week in Marblehead to come back and win. You know, they really hadn't done that. They hadn't been able to come from behind when faced with adversity, and that's certainly a big win. You know, now unfortunately they come out tonight and you make a mistake on your second snap of the game, and you after your defense does the job stopping Swampscott, you give them the ball right back, and they're deep in your territory. And you know, Swampscott's got enough weapons offensively so that if you give them that type of field position, more often than not they're going to come away with something. Well,
we saw that in the English-Winthrop game last week when they gave him excellent field position with an athlete like Anthony Palmer. He just was able to put it in easily in a 13-0 lead, became an 18-13 deficit, and you know, and as I think it was some guy from Winthrop on cable said, lights out at Manning Bowl, I think. You know, to coin a famous announcer.
Oh, don't get me started.
It will be Peter Woodfork. You know, it's still amazing when Peter Woodfork kicks off left-footed. But gets his foot into the ball, line drives it, takes a bounce. Fielded by Brian Smith at the 25. Straight ahead, one man to beat, cut to the outside. It's a foot race now. Him and Woodfork. Smith trying to get him. Woodfork just got an ankle and knocked him down. And that was a case where everybody in white shirts were up. He broke the initial plane and almost took it all away.
Boy, you know, that was one of those situations, John, where it looks like the coverage either didn't get there in time or there was just an automatic steam. We see Smith pick it up, and he's in the clear almost immediately. And he almost goes all the way here. Woodfork has to dive to get him. And
he just barely got him, too. Just knocked him down.
That was a 58-yard.
The ball is at the 12-yard line.
58 yards on the kick return.
The pitch, and that's something we haven't seen. Brian Smith in the backfield.
That play took a long time to develop, John, and you know, down in this end of the field where you know the defense is going to be stacked up, you know, you really have to execute your blocks on the outside for that play to work. And it seemed like it took too much time developing. I would think you might see the Rams put it up here, John.
Well, they've had success throwing the ball, especially in the last game against Marblehead. Waldron looking to throw, lofts it into the end zone, looking for Calvin. A little too far. Calvin would have been a tough shot for Calvin to catch that and come in bounds. That was sort of the touchdown play they threw against Marblehead last week when they just threw it up and let Calvin go up and rebound the football.
It was really a big play here for Classical. You know, you really don't want to waste field position.
No,
like
that's for sure.
We're set up with.
You don't want to come back saying what could have been, but for a step, 3 wide receivers to the near side. The give to Smith. Bangs inside the 10.
Number 87, Brian Smith carries.
And he gets to about the 8.
And number 80, Scott McKinney was also in the tackle. It is 4th and 6.
And Classical's going to take a timeout to talk about it. And you know, it's funny. Look at the return, and what a big boost this would be for Classical after Swampscott scores and takes advantage of a break to put points right back up on the board and get right back in it. And now the defense, and what a boost it'll be for the defense if they shut Classical down here.
Exactly, that's the other side of the coin. You know, not only if you don't score, not only don't you get points, but now the other guys are really brimming with confidence, even though they're deep in their own territory. So, you know, they really need to at least make the first down here. You know, they can make the first down without scoring. They got 4th and 6 from the 8, so they got to find a way to get 6 yards here. I'm wondering if he's toying with the idea of a field goal. They haven't really kicked the ball that much on extra points. Coleman has kicked a few. Calvin has kicked a few.
Yeah,
you're looking at about 25 yards here. I suspect they may opt to try to get the first down.
I think you're right. I think that's what it is. You see Darryl Murkison there with the gold jacket with the earphones on, one of the coaches. Matt Durgan is the taller of the coaches with the blonde hair. Dave Dempsey to the left. That's Joe Joyce. The entire offensive unit were over there talking to all of the coaches on the sideline. As we see one of Lynn's finest helping out with the stakes. So a big 4th down play. It'll be 4th down and 6 from the 8-yard line. As Paul mentioned, they can get a first down if they get to the 2. 3 wide receivers to the right side. Waldron with the keep. The pitch is to Green, looking to get the corner. Dives forward. He's in for the touchdown. That was a nice job by Jeff Waldron, holding on to that, pitching at just the right time as we see the Classical fans get something to cheer about.
That was a terrific play and really a great play call, too. Let's give credit to Coach Dave Dempsey there. They hadn't shown the option yet tonight. They really haven't shown it that much with Waldron at quarterback. They had been running it earlier this season a lot with Marcos at quarterback. Here we see Waldron executes great, holds onto the ball, attracts the double coverage there. The outside guy did his job. He forced the pitch, but there was no one there to pick up Green. Great job.
You know, of course, what Classical done, they sent 3 wide receivers to the far side. They went down and in, took the defense with them. So once you get by the front line, he was home free. Hit at the line of scrimmage and knocked down. Peter Conley, along with Matt O'Neill, hit him right at the line of scrimmage as Smith tried to run it in. The rush was no good, but you got to say what a big boost for Classical. Get it right back. There's the stop right there, right at the line of scrimmage. So 7-6. You see the scoreboard, 3:37 left, and good play call, and good performance, good execution by the Classical offense, and of course Brian Smith was the guy that got him there. 58 yards on the return.
Kenny Green now Classical's leading scorer this season, John. Here's the play again. Waldron goes outside, pitches just at the right moment, and Green really no problem until he got right around the goal line. Even if he didn't get in, he would have had the first down.
Easily.
You're saying Green now with 20 points on the season to lead the Rams.
So the offense only went 12 yards in 4 plays, but it was 12 yards into the end zone after the 58-yard return by Brian Smith. And it will be Glasgow kicking off for the second time here in the first period. Calvin Johnson, CJ will get his foot into the ball.
And that's Woodfork back deep in the middle for the Big Blue.
Takes a hop, fielded at about the 16-yard line. And again, a good surge out across the 35 to the 37-38, and that was a step or two away from going all the way.
Sure was.
He was brought down by number 77, Steve Dickerson, and number 43, Vincent Figueroa.
Dickerson and Figueroa in on the stop for the Rams. And we'll call it the 37-yard line. McShay sends Locke to the far side, Woodfork to the near side. I formation behind him. Schloffman is the blocking back. Classical jumped, and we'll see whether Classical made contact first. Swampscott jumped, so it's probably against the offense, which is what it is.
See that happen a lot, John. The Classical defense did jump over, but of course they can get back without making contact. And a couple of Swampscott linemen, when they saw Classical jump over, they picked up and moved. That's a penalty in the offense.
So it'll be 1st and 15 as Woodfork comes to the near side. This is Madden off the right side. Not much yardage. Lorino there. Mulcahy at the bottom of the pile getting up.
You know, John, DePietro could be hurt here. You see Madden picking up 3 yards.
I was just about to ask you that.
Because on that 6-yard run where he was tackled by Coleman in the first series, he did come up hobbling, and we haven't seen him on offense since. I did not notice if he were playing on defense. We'll have to check next time they come out, but he could be on the sidelines here with an injury.
Good point, because I was going to mention the same thing. We haven't seen him. McShay, right over the middle, Woodfork. They're calling it incomplete. He got hit. Had it maybe a second. I'm not sure he really had. I think it was a good call by the official. I don't think he never really had possession before he got hit.
He didn't. He did not have possession, John. We'll take a look at it here. See how the pass looks. McShay goes back. Throws it. Looks like when the Classical player came up to try to make the tackle, he might have got a piece of the ball and knocked it out of Peter Woodfork's
Yeah, I don't think he ever had possession. So good call. So it'll be 3rd and about 13. Locked to the far side. Woodfork is now a wing back to the near side. Again, it's Madden in the eye as Woodfork goes in motion. McShay looking to throw. Get it outside, incomplete. And good pressure again by Classical, making McShay throw it a little quicker.
Well, you'd have to say the Classical defense has done a nice job, John. You know, they did give up a score, but Swampscott picked up at the Classical 36. The other 2 series with average field position, Classical stopped them right off the bat, 3 downs and out.
Well, the strong point so far this year has been their defense. They've played very well defensively. It's just they've just had trouble getting that offense in gear. And now it will be Mike Madden standing back in punt formation. Handles the snap, gets the kickoff. It's a high kick. Fielded at about the 37-yard line. Green looking to get outside. He's going to get hit and knocked down.
Number 24, Kenny Green, returned the punt. He was brought down by number 80,
Scott Kutikia and Eben Phillips make the stop as the ball is at the Classical 45-yard line. So good field position by the Rams as you see their offensive huddle. And I'm looking, and I don't see number 38 out there either on defense, Paul, so he must have got bumped up a little bit, and we'll have to look and see if he comes back at all. We're talking, of course, about Traeger DePietro. They send Calvin Johnson to the near side. Gibson to the far side. Waldron looking to throw. Lets it fly downfield, looking for Calvin. Calvin steps up in front, picks it off. He's got it. One man to beat. They're not going to get him. He's going to go into the end zone, I believe. Madden with a shot. They don't get him. Touchdown, Classical. And that's a great play by a great athlete.
You've got that right, John.
12-7, and that ball was a little bit underthrown, but Galvin had presence of mind to sit back and watch and see where it was going. Just stepped back to the football and then cut it back to the middle and was wide open.
You know, he did a great job, John. He got his body between the ball and the defender, Brendan Nolan. He actually went up with his back to the defender, so now Nolan can't do anything except interfere with him. Johnson easily out-jumps him, and then once he comes down with the ball, it's in the open field. See you later. Although Madden did make up a lot of ground on him.
He surely did. Madden was there. I thought he was in easily. Madden almost got him before he got in. Just got in the end zone. The place kick by Klasko is no good. Coleman thought it was good.
And the score remains 12,
So 12-7. So talking about, here's the replay of the touchdown.
Now here's Waldron. He puts a lot of air under it. Watch Johnson. Just up, goes up, takes down the ball, and now he's in the open field. Great cut there. And now he's off to the races. And Madden gets him, but not before he dives into the end zone. That's a great individual effort by Calvin
You saw him
Johnson.
give him that little stiff hip in the middle. Just freeze him a little bit so he could get that extra step to the outside. And it certainly paid off. He needed that extra step because Madden almost caught him before he got in. But they certainly take advantage. They go 55 yards in one play. 12-7, 19 points put on the board, and we still have 2:11 left here in the first period. So it'll be Calvin Johnson kicking the football off. Glasgow looking to avenge one of the 5 shutouts that Swampscott had last year. They beat Glasgow last year at Blockshit's Field 18-0. So Glasgow trying to come back and a little revenge there. And also a little, this would be a great lift for this program if they could knock off the Big Blue. Calvin gets his foot into it, line drives it. Picked up, I believe that's Madden on the other side, who gets hit as he crosses the 25 to about the 27.
He was brought down by number 20, Carlos Peralta.
Peralta got down quickly and made the hit. And they'll mark it at the 27. So Swampscott will have it again. Their third possession here. On one of those was a fumble recovery that they turned into 7 points. And right now the difference in the game is Todd McShay's pop fly that made it through the sticks for the extra point. Locked to the near side. Woodfork is a wing back to the far side. He comes in motion to the near side. The give is to Madden. Stays on his feet. Gets actually knocked forward for a couple of more yards as he gets across the 30.
Tackle was made by number 87, Brian Smith, and number 55, Louis Secchi.
Secchi and Smith in on the stop, and they get across the 35 to the 36.
Second and 7. Ball is at about the 31-yard line.
Glasgow looking to get over the 500 mark. They're 3-3. Woodfork now flanked to the near side, locked to the far side. One running back. And I think that was Mr. DePietro. No, that was Badgett. I'm sorry, 35, not 38. Coleman, who has been a mainstay on defense for the Rams all year, made the hit. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
You know, John, Calvin Johnson has really turned into quite the big play receiver. That's his 6th reception on the year. He's totaled 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's batting 500 on the touchdowns on his receptions.
Well, certainly the last 2 receptions have been unique because this one we just saw was a 55-yard score. And the last one, of course, was the one where he actually came down simultaneously in the end zone with the Marblehead defensive back and scored the winning touchdown to give Classical the win in actually the last seconds. Might have been the last play. So 2 mammoth catches in a row by CJ. And of course against Marblehead he wasn't even supposed to play with wisdom teeth removed, and he was listed as questionable, but certainly came to the forefront. And certainly one of the better athletes in the Northeastern Conference. And there are many in the Northeastern Conference. And he's certainly right up there among the top. 1:08 is going on the scoreboard clock as we see Traeger DePietro sitting back there, and he's got look like ice on his ankle, and
that's not good news for Big Blue fans.
Certainly isn't, because not only is he's played 4 full games, and in all 4 games he's gone over 100 yards rushing. The only 2 he missed was the mediocre game against Beverly, and that was only because he played like a quarter and he got hurt, a concussion, and then he missed the Winthrop game entirely.
He's also been a real force on defense, John. Against English, game that he carried the ball, I think it was 37 times. He was also the best defensive player on the field. He had about 16 tackles.
Well, they've shown that they can replace him a little bit, and this is Madden. Looks like he picked up the first down. They've shown that they can replace him a little bit on offense, but I'm not sure they can replace him on defense, Paul. I think you're right. I think his most important product is on the defensive side. Not that he's not a good offensive player. The ball will be at the 39-yard line. A first down pickup by Mike Madden, as you see the replay. And he just refuses to go, and of course he gets a little help from one of his line buddies. That was David Johnson. We mentioned David just coming back from a concussion, and still not afraid to stick his head in there and push.
David's a tough kid, John.
Wide receivers to the near side, Woodfork and Locke. This is Madden. Quick hole, gets to the outside, just tripped up, I think, by Green, or he would have gone a long way.
Gain of 7 yards in the play. It'll be 2nd and 3. Ball is at the 47-yard.
At the 47-yard line, it'll be 2nd down and 2, as he picks up 8 on the play.
Should have about 1 more play here in the first quarter if the clock is reasonably accurate.
They now send
down.
Madden as a wide receiver to the near side. Badgett, the lone running back. Badgett with the carry, did not get the first down.
35, Larry Badgett. He was brought down by number 45, Chris Mulcahy.
Mulcahy just rode him to the turf. Good shot of Chris right there. And every time we say that, we got to say a relative of Gordon Laro. And that will be the end of the first period. You see the zeros on the scoreboard clock. 12-7, Classical on top. We'll be right back.
The risk of 2 very serious birth defects can be easily avoided when women of childbearing age get the right amount of a B vitamin called folic acid, starting now before planning a baby. To learn more, ask your doctor or write to Shriners Hospitals for Crippled Children. A simple vitamin can help avoid a serious problem.
Back at Manning Bowl, 3rd and 2 for Swampscott. As we start the second period, John Hoff along with Paul Halloran. Madden squeezing through a little hole off his left side. As he gets into Classical territory at the 49-yard line.
32 is Coleman.
Coleman and Lorino helping out on the stop. You see the replay and you see first down at the 49-yard line of the Rams. 12-7, Classical on top. Back-to-back touchdowns on their second and third possessions in the first period. This is Madden again. Looked like it was supposed to go off the right side. He got bounced out to the outside and made pretty good yardage on first down. They'll mark the ball down at the 43-yard line.
At the end of 1 period of play, another action in the Northeast Conference. Danvers 3, English nothing.
So it'll be 2nd down and...
It is 2nd and 5. At the 44-yard line.
So Madden becoming the workhorse here with DePietro on the bench.
You just took the words right out of my mouth, John. That's his 8th carry, 35 yards, and doing a nice, steady job for the Blue. Nothing fancy on this drive. Straight ahead.
No, that's for sure. Just here we come, try and stop us. This is Sloffman. Gets hit at the line of scrimmage and falls forward for a yard or 2.
He was tripped up by number 44, James Magner.
Magner got the ankle and knocked him down. And the ball now at the 42-yard line. A pickup of a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Another big 3rd down play. Eben Phillips leads them out. Locke goes to the far side. Woodfork is a wingback to the far side. And they go on a quick count. And depending on the spot, I don't think they're going to give it to him the way where the referee is standing. He's going to be close, though. Those little sneaky plays by the Big Blue.
They run real quick. It almost looked like they went too quick, but McShay right off the ball. Only picked up 2, though. It's a 4th and 1 now from the 40.
At the 40-yard line, they need a yard, and Swampscott's going to take a timeout. A big 4th down play here. And that was just a case of get up to the line of scrimmage and snap the ball immediately before anybody's ready. And the only one that knew were the center and the quarterback. And Classical got a pretty good spot on that because it looked like Todd McShay was closer to the first down than a yard or a yard and a half. And it doesn't look good when you look over and see Trega DePietro with a baseball cap on.
Well, in the spring it does. In the summer it looks even better. Not in the fall, though.
So I know Trega must be saying, I'm just thankful this is not my senior year. And this is not my last try at this. We're looking at 2 teams that are very young out here. Swampscott, I think I saw where 20 of their top 22 players are back next year, and they've got some tremendous athletes.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with next year, no doubt about it.
When Larry moves to the 4th and 1, Swampscott has the ball at the bicycle.
4th and a yard, so the offense has talked to Bill Bush and the defense has talked to Dave Dempsey, and we'll see what they do. You worry about these if you're a coach because if he breaks the plane, he might go all the way if you stack everybody up close to the line of scrimmage. Madden behind Schloffman. The give is off the right side. He's got the first down. Good effort by Klaska. Looked like they hit him almost in the backfield. Madden kept those legs going and picked up the first down. At the 38-yard line. He needed a yard. He got a couple.
Give Madden credit there, John, for a good second effort. You're right, he was hit, and he kind of half spun off it, and if he had not broken the initial tackle, he would not have made that first down. That's a nice individual effort by Mike Madden.
Again, Madden the deep man in the eye behind Schloffman. Woodfork comes in motion to the near side. The pitch is to Madden. Block is out in front. Dives inside the 35 down to about the 32.
He was tripped up by number 22, Calvin Johnson.
So he'll pick up 6 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
It is 2nd and 5. Ball is at the 32-yard line.
Woodfork out in front, trying to get a piece. Jeff Walden was the safety, was there to make sure he went down. Actually, he dove forward to try and get some extra yardage if he could. They fake. They're looking to throw over the middle. Incomplete. And there's Coleman again. And they get a flag down. It's going to be roughing the passer. And that's going to cost the Rams. And as you can tell, sitting on the Rams side, the fans don't like it.
I'll have to take another look at this. He was definitely under pressure, John, but I don't know. I'd like to take another look at this.
Well, now they're just calling it unsportsman, not really, and not roughing, and I don't, so we really don't know what it was for unless somebody said something or.
Well, in that case, John, then Classical has no one to blame but themselves because there's no reason for that type of a penalty. You know, if it's a late hit and the kid's coming in and being aggressive, that's one thing, but obviously someone did something to get that type of a flag.
Yeah, because it wasn't roughing the passes we thought it might be. It was unsportsmanlike conduct, so that hurts because it gives the Big Blue a first down at the 17-yard line and keeps this drive going. This is Badgett, I believe.
Ball is carried by number 35, Larry Badgett. Tackle was made by number 73, Matt Lorino.
Lorino with the hit, and Dolby helping out as they're inside the 10. We'll call it the 8.
Well, John, that was
inside the 13.
That was the 13th play of the drive, and by far the biggest gainer on the drive was the 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, that's for sure. They started in the first period back at their own 27-yard line. They've eaten up a lot of yards and a lot of time.
Mike Madden carried.
Madden again.
That was made by number 22, Calvin Johnson, and number 55, Louis Sackey.
Sackey and Johnson in on the stop, but there were about 3 green shirts that made penetration and got a piece earlier to hold them to a yard. 3rd and 7.
Now watch that kid Woodfork in the flats.
Madden is the deep man behind as Woodfork goes in motion to the far side. The pitch to Madden, looking to get to the outside. Block is out in front. Good defensive play.
Calvin.
He was brought down by number 22, Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, Dolby was there as well, but that's that speed.
About 4 yards to go.
This is a terrific play. Watch, it looks like Madden has a lot of real estate here on your screen. Here comes Johnson, just dives in, takes his feet right from under him. Another great individual effort by Johnson.
We talked about this before, Paul, in a classical game. We said that the speed, everybody talks about, they can break for a touchdown on any play, but we mentioned this before. The speed really comes into play on defense as well, maybe even more so on defense, because a play like that, Madden looked like he might have even had a touchdown, certainly a first down, and now they wind up with a 4th and long.
Yeah, you know, he picked up 3 yards there, but again, when we looked at the replay, you saw nothing in front of him except green grass, not green shirts.
Yeah.
and into the play came Johnson in a hurry. Great pursuit.
And also a picture-perfect tackle. Just went down underneath, took the pins out from under him. And
here it is again. Now, watch when Madden gets the ball. Look at your screen. Nothing in front of him right there. And here comes Johnson in with a great play.
Yeah, boy, what a great equalizer that speed is to be able to get there, and even if you're beaten, you can react back and get to the play and shut them down. So Swampscott had called the timeout to talk about it. And while I have a timeout, I want to mention a former Lynn Tech player who's in a little bit of difficulty, Dan Cormier Jr. There's a leukemia benefit dance for Dan Cormier Jr. He needs a bone marrow transplant. It's Friday, November 5th. At Franco-American Hall. The donation is $10. There are DJ and refreshments, and you can call Denise at 595-9537, 595-9537, and it would be great, certainly if the Lynn Tech family could turn out and really help this young man, and we hope certainly everything turns out well for Dan Cormier and in his bout. Big 4th down play. Woodfork to the near side. Lock to the far side. The handoff to Schlafman. Goes in up the middle, and that's the play they ran before, where they spread everybody out and ran. There's a flag on the play, and it looks like holding against Swampscott, so they're going to bring it back. So the Swampscott fans were cheering, and the classical fans were down a little bit. Now it quickly changes the other way around as you see Coach Bill Bush. And but Paul, they ran that play. They said wide receivers almost as far as you can go and split classical way out. And the last time Schlafman ran with wide open daylight, and he ran it again there for good yardage.
Kansas is leading 9-0.
And it will be 4th and 12.
The call puts it back at the 18-yard line, where it will be 4th down and 12, and they'll have to do it again. And the classical coaching staff is going to be careful. They're all the way out at the 30-yard line, 10 yards out in the field. The last thing we want to do is, and now I see why they're calling timeout. And they almost didn't get it, Paul. Kenny Green was right almost in the official's face, signaling he wanted timeout. And they waited till the ball was almost snapped before they finally gave it to him. I was wondering why Dempsey and his crew were all the way out in the field.
Well, again, John, penalties at this end of the field will absolutely kill you, and that was certainly a well-devised play by Swampscott. He was the only guy in the backfield. They gave it to him up the middle, but that 10-yard holding penalty, you hate it when points have to come off the board.
And you can see what Schlafman means a lot to this football team. He plays very well, and he's been hurt missed a couple of games, and he's a fine football player. And they like to have him in the lineup. He's only a junior. As you see the replay, Schloffman going in there for the touchdown. Celebrating, he hasn't yet to find out that as he's raised in celebration, and then unfortunately he's got to turn around. As you see the sign, you saw on 1 Dolby there, 78, signaling over to the classical bench that it was a hold. So both sides got a chance to celebrate in that play. Swampscott for the touchdown, Classical for the hold, and they'll do it again. 5:31 left to play in the first half, 12-7. We've slowed the pace down a little bit as Swampscott has handled the ball all here in the 5.5 minutes here in the third period, and quite a bit of the first period running it down after we had scored 19 points very quickly. And now Woodfork goes in motion to the far side. McShay looking to throw the football under pressure. He's going to get sacked all the way back as Brian Smith just didn't worry about anybody except the quarterback. Went right to the quarterback, made the sack, and Classical's defense turns that long drive, time-consuming drive by Swampscott aside. So the ball now all the way back to the 29-yard line. And Paul, not only did they, as you saw the replay of the sack and you saw Brian Smith celebrating, not only did they turn him back, but they got pretty good field position in doing it. Yeah, it's a long, big difference from seeing Swampscott celebrating in your end zone to having the ball 1st and 10 at your own 29. That's for sure. And now a little problem on the Classical side with the offense, and Jeff Waldron was trying to get a play, got back to the huddle, and might have thought the time clock was going out on him, so he's over talking to Dave Dempsey, and we may be setting records for the most times having coaches on the television screen here in the early going. But we've kind of slowed a little bit, Paul. We got 19 points very early, very quickly, and now Swampscott went on that time-consuming drive over 5.5 minutes in this second period alone. And not to mention those several plays in the first period. So they probably had the ball for over 7 minutes. Well, they held it for 17 plays, John. And they went from, they started the drive at their own 27. They got down actually as far as the 9 from scrimmage. They got in the end zone on the penalty. And the time consumed off the clock was 7.5 minutes. But again, you hate to hold the ball that long and come away with nothing. That's for sure. So Classical, we'll see what they can do with the football. First time they've been on offense here in the second period. Waldron is the quarterback. Off the Classical right side, nothing doing. Eben Phillips, Brian Crescenzo helping out with a stop, no gain. So it'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Rams. Peralta in motion to the near side. The pitch is to Gibson, trying to turn the corner. Turns the corner and just lays his head down and bangs forward across the 35 out to maybe the 37. Nice run there. You know, really nice hard run by Gibson, John. Got the ball, did not hesitate at all. You watch here, Walden come back, pitch him the ball, and he really accelerates, and he knows he's going to get hit, trying to put a hit on the defense. Nice hard-nosed run by Gibson there. That's the thing that these kids have, the Classical kids have, when you talk about their speed. They're running at top speed almost with the first step they take. It doesn't take them a while to get going. He got around that corner very, very quickly, and he had Peralta leading the way with him. CJ to the near side for the Rams. Peralta is a wing back to the far side. Now he comes in motion to the near side. Flag, and this could be too much time. They try to go back to the weak side, and that's what it's going to be, too much time. So it's going to cost them 5 of the 8 that Kareem Gibson had picked up.
3rd and 7.
3rd and 7 now, back at the 32-yard line for the Rams.
And that's one of those penalties, Sean, where it's almost more than a 5-yard penalty, because 3rd and 2, you know, you have a whole lot of options of what you can do. Now 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 7 is really a big difference. We think we'll see them put it up here.
Calvin Johnson's out to the far side, covered one-on-one by Brendan Nolan. Waldron steps back under pressure, and the pocket caves in. He's going to get hit and knocked down. Badgett was the first guy to get to him. Brian Crescenzo was also there. And he was looking for Calvin Johnson again. They lose back to the 27. So it'll be 4th down and 12, and Classical will have to kick it away.
Well, you know, I would think anytime that they can get Calvin in one-on-one coverage, they're going to look to him. Same thing with Swampscott. Anytime they see Woodforks being covered one-on-one, they're going to look to go to him. Here's Johnson, and, you know, it almost looked like they were going to run that same play, throw it up, and go get it.
You know, let's use Calvin's athletic ability, let him go get it. Fielded at the 38-yard line. And a good job, open field. Kenny Green was not going to let Peter Woodfork go anyplace. Woodfork tried to turn the corner. He got it to 38. He only made a yard return to the 39. A nice tackle by Kenny Green. Just wouldn't let go of that shirt. And you see the replay right there. And maybe a little ankle movement, too. Looks like he's been watching a WWF or a little takedown there.
It is a nice tackle, though, because, you know, if he doesn't make that tackle, now Woodfork gets a little steam up, you know, and he's got a chance to really create something.
No question. At the 39, it will be 1st and 10 for the Big Blue. 2 wide receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side, 1 running back. And that's Schloffman, and he's got the call and the carry. Gang tackling by the defense again. Mulcahy is in on it. Coleman is in on it. Saki was also there. And you see the replay here, and there's Pascal quick to the football. Calvin Johnson is right there.
Coleman is really having a whale of a game defensively, John. I'd say he's probably up around 8 tackles already.
Well, you and I have done at least, this is at least the second one we've done together, and we've called his name more often than not on defense. McShay looking to throw. He's got some time. Dumps it over the middle. A middle screen to Mike Madden. And Mike just keeps those legs going. He's not that big, Paul, but he is aggressive.
Well, those of us who had the pleasure of dealing with his older brother, Bill, knows that if he has any of what Bill has, and he does, that size is not a factor. And Mike's already bigger than Bill ever was. But
that's for sure.
Bill was one of the great ones.
And here he is there. It's just, you know, Coleman again in the tackle, along with Magna. It's at the 46-yard line of the Rams. 1st and 10. 150 showing on the scoreboard clock. Lock to the near side. Woodfork to the far side. McShay pumps, lets it fly, looking for Woodfork. He makes the catch in front of the defender, knocked out of bounds. Almost a carbon copy, except he wasn't able to cut inside like Calvin Johnson did.
Yeah, you know, you're going to have to see this replay, John. Woodfork made a great move there. Just stopped on a dime. Watch McShay go back. It's a pump fake. He'll pump here. He's looking for Woodfork all the way. Woodfork just stops there, lets the defender overrun it. That's Gibson who knocks him out of bounds. But great sense for the ball by Woodfork there. And, you know, we just got through talking about, you know, when he's very difficult to cover one-on-one, as is Calvin for Lynn.
It certainly is. Again, they send Woodfork to the far side. Locke and Madden out to the near side. The give is to Schloffman, straight ahead. Stays on his feet, bangs off a couple of people. Finally is wrestled to the ground at about the 13. Waldron finally sacked him. And there's the replay again. Schloffman really running hard. Waldron finally holds on and gets some help from Magna as he gets 6 yards down to the 13. The clock running. We're coming up close to a minute left. Swampscott trying to get the go-ahead score late in the first half. This is Madden, straight ahead, and went airborne for the last couple of yards as he gets down near the 5 for a first down.
Tackle was made by number 44, James Banker, and number 32, Keon Coleman. And the Big Blue has another first down. It'll be first and goal from about the 6-yard line. Timeout, Swampscott.
Swampscott takes a timeout. 1:01 showing on the scoreboard clock. And of course, in this situation, Paul, you've got a case where if you get down this close and don't get it in with time running down, you've got Todd McShay who can kick and get yourself within 2 points.
Well,
we're calling it.
Excuse me, John.
Go ahead.
This has turned into quite a drive with those 2 back-to-back passes. You know, they're pinned 2nd and 8 on their own 41, and you know, the screen to Madden worked very effectively. They get 13 there, and then a nice play call going right back on top to Woodfork on first down with the single coverage out on the sideline. So, you know, again, we talked about they're having a lot of weapons. One of their weapons on the sidelines, injured, looked to be ankle, DePietro, but they're really not missing a beat here between Madden's running, and you know, McShay has proven that he's going to be good enough to throw the ball and get the ball to those receivers.
He's shown that was a big question mark coming in. Maybe his inexperience at quarterback, and could he do the job? He's more than shown that he can do the job. And we mentioned also too that not that they wouldn't like to have DePietro on offense, but I think they've shown they can replace him on offense a little bit, but defensively I don't think they can. Schloffman inside the 5. Swampscott quickly calls timeout as he falls forward to about the 3.
3 yards to the play. It'll be second and goal from about the 4.
So each time the camera shifts over to DePietro, we see a new piece of equipment. A jacket. It was a hat last time. Now it's a jacket because it's getting a little bit cool. And
sure, he's being well taken care of.
I'm sure he is too. There he is there with checking to see if he's okay. Of course, we saw at Salem, we saw Palmer come back from an ankle injury and carry his team to a win in the 4th quarter against Salem. I don't think we're going to see that by Mr. DePietro because, as I said, they've got Mike Madden, who is doing workmanlike job so far. The ball inside the 5. We're going to call it the 4. It's second down and goal. 54 seconds left. I haven't seen a sign that said last timeout by Swampscott, but they couldn't have any more than 1 left, I don't think. And we'll see if they run it or throw it. Everybody in tight. Woodfork is the wing back to the far side. See if they maybe try to slip him out, maybe throw the ball. They try to bounce it out. The ball goes to the ground. It's loose. I thought I saw a flag come out too. I'm not sure. There could be anything under that pile.
Swampscott recovered. Now McShay's doing the right thing here. He's trying to get his teammates lined up. You know, forget about it. We got the ball back. Now let's line up here.
Glasgow's out with football trying to run it back.
Well, that'll stop the clock, but good presence of mind by McShay there, John, because the clock is going to move on that play once they sort out who has the fumble.
They actually gained a yard on the play. So the ball is at the 3 with the clock running, so they don't have any more timeouts left. The ball's at the 3. McShay throwing the ball into the corner, sliding catch by Woodfork for the touchdown. And that's kind of tough for the Rams. They played good defense. 34 seconds left. "61 yards, 8 plays," as you see the Swampscott fans and part of the bench who are breathing a little bit easier. Certainly not much. They only lead by 1. McShay will try to make it 2 with Madden holding. The kick is low. Madden can't get it down, and they're not going to get it. He's going to be turned aside.
Number 12, Mike Madden, will tackle the backfield.
Saki.
Number 24, Ken Green.
and Ken Green.
26, Kareem Gibson. And the conversion fails. The score remains Swampscott 13, Glasgow 12.
So a 1-point lead for Swampscott. And it comes with 34 seconds left. And it was a great sliding catch. And McShay put it right where the only person who could catch it was Woodfork. He threw it down low. And that was one time where the speed couldn't get back there for Classical.
This is the captain. Set the ship's course at 180. Speed 10.
We're free to pursue life's simple pleasures because they're out here guaranteeing that freedom. The Navy, out here today, safeguarding your tomorrow.
And now it'll be Swampscott kicking to Classical. Kareem Gibson is the deep man in the middle. Kenny Green to the far side. It'll be Peter Woodfork left footing it for the Big Blue. As you see Peter right there. So we had 3 scores early. We had a long drought until finally Swampscott took advantage of a drive that ended 34 seconds left, and Woodfork slams it deep all the way back to the 2-yard line is Kareem Gibson. Starts upfield with the speed, looking to get to the outside. And he is exciting as he gets it across the 35 to the 36.
Kickoff from the 40-yard line with number 26, Kareem Gibson.
And at blazing speed, he had one man to beat, and if he gets by that one man, and here it is.
Kickoff return, and the Rams will have the ball first and 10.
Right there, and Danny Locke, the one man to make the stop as he brings him down. And would you expect Classical maybe to go up top to Calvin Johnson right here?
Well, I'd certainly be taking a couple of shots at it, no doubt about it. And, you know, Swampscott fortunate that Woodfork got such depth on the kickoff because the 33-yard return, you know, they're only out at the 36. If it had been a shorter kickoff, Classical could really be in business here.
Johnson's to the near side. Woodfork is on him. They let it fly downfield. Calvin Johnson with the catch to the 45.
Number 22, Calvin Johnson. He was brought down by number 42, Peter Woodfork. And the Rams won the first down.
First down of the second period.
It is first and 10.
As they have it at the 45-yard line. 19 yards on the catch by Johnson as you saw the replay.
Is there any reason why they're not hurrying?
No, I don't know what. Nobody. Now they finally called timeout, and they let an awful lot of time run off that clock.
That's, you know, that's just not good clock management there, John.
No, now they really only have time for one play because there's only 6 seconds showing on the clock. And now the only thing they can hope for is maybe throw it up, let Calvin get it, and maybe look for a penalty as you get a good shot of Jeff Waldron talking to Matt Durgan on the right and Coach Dave Dempsey on the left.
You know, that is a big difference because, you know, that was a 19-yard completion. If you have time for 2 plays, you conceivably, you know, you can try to get half the distance on both plays. But now, as you say, they're going to have to go for it all in one shot, it looks like.
They had 34 seconds when they, you know, a little less than that, actually around 24 seconds. But 18 seconds that play took, and that's a little long for the pass play. And the clock did stop momentarily for the change of the stakes, but then it started right back up again. Waldron lets it fly downfield. He had to let it go too quick. It's going to get picked off. Brendan Nolan with the pick. Across the 35 to 37. We get a flag. It's not going to make any difference. It's against Swampscott, but I think that's going to end it as he was taken down by Stephen Dickerson, who made the tackle. But that's, I believe the penalty could possibly be against Swampscott, and that will be the last play of the half if it is. And the clip against Swampscott refused, and that is the end of the first half as we get the sign from Mike Hegan. So a good first half by both teams. Classical coming on strong. That showing some life from that Marblehead big win. They were leading 12-7. It's Swampscott 13-12 at halftime. We'll be back with the second half.
The risk of two very serious birth defects can be easily avoided when women of childbearing age get the right amount of a B vitamin called folic acid, starting now before planning a baby. To learn more, ask your doctor or write to Shriners Hospitals for Crippled Children. A simple vitamin can help avoid a serious problem.
I'm going home. I gotta write my story.
We're looking at the Lynn Classical bench as we start the second half. Classical had the lead of 12-7 on a couple of big plays, one being a 55-yard pass play to put them in the lead. Jeff Waldron to Calvin Johnson. They also had a big kick return by Brian Smith of 58 yards that set him up at the 12, and it took him 4 plays to get in. But then with 34 seconds left, it was McShay hitting Peter Woodfork, culminating a 61-yard, 8-play drive, and Swampscott clinging to that 1-point lead as we start the second period. I'm John Hoffman along with Paul Halloran. And at some time during the second half, we're also going to have Ray McDermott stick his head in and talk a little bit about his St. Mary's Spartans. But right now, we're getting set to start the second period. It will be Peter Woodfork kicking off for Swampscott. Karim Gibson is the man that Classical would like to have the football. He's the deep man in the middle as you get a look at Swampscott in their typical white and blue. Woodfork kicks it deep. Gibson back at the 6. Cuts it straight up the middle again. Loose, 1 man to beat. Woodfork back here. Gibson looking for a block, and he's going to get it. Woodfork trying to fight off the block. Gibson's going to go in for the touchdown. 94 yards. What a way to start the half as Gibson is mobbed. And just like it doesn't take long.
Oh, it's coming back.
It's coming back. We got a flag.
Not that far back though.
No, but
I'd like to see this. If this was on Brian Smith on the last block, this is not a good call. Let's take a look at this because Woodfork did a tremendous job in the open field fighting off the block by Smith, and I assume the flag was not on that because that was a clean block by Smith.
It certainly looked like a clean block, and I thought, here we see Gibson. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, here he is up the middle. Now he's loose. There's a little traffic coming up here. He runs off the block. A lock can't make the play. Now, here you see Smith out front. Woodfork fights him. That's a legal block right there. Now, the flag, I assume, was on the other side of the field.
Well, you know, if they called it on that play, it was simply because Peter Woodfork there were 2 blocks. One, he actually got turned around a little bit, and they might have only seen the block behind. The ball is at the 24-yard line. Kenny Green. The ball's on the ground, and Swampscott says they have it, and they do. Danny Locke.
Well, you know, I'd really be curious. Oh, this one's coming back, too. This is on Swampscott.
This is against one, so Classical is going to get it back, and, you know, you don't think there were some people on the Classical side saying that this is a makeup for the other call?
Revlon call. Well, I'll tell you, you know, I'd like to see that one maybe one more time if Dave McCarty can give it to us. I know you're saying it was on the second block, but Woodfork kind of turned himself around there.
That was my point.
You know,
I was going to make that point before they ran the play. And, Paul, if the penalty was on the other side of the field, it shouldn't have been called because it had nothing to do with the play.
John, that penalty, Swampscott is going to have the ball. They got hit for 15 yards on sportsmanlike after the recovery.
So the turnover, a big break for the Big Blue. Mike Madden picks up right where he left off, and what a terrible break for the Rams. The ball is out to the 12, a pickup of 2, and again, I have to say, as you see it right here, now watch the 2 blocks, one there and then one there. And
Still
you see,
had him on the side,
yes,
though. You can
absolutely.
get him on the side.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, we got to find out after the game if the call was away from that, because if it was on that, that's a poor call.
Come on, go on!
Again, good surge. They're not going to get the first down, but Madden really putting his head down, getting those legs going strong. And it's going to bring up a big third down. They're out to the 18-yard line. Third and a long 2. It is Waldron making the hit. So both number 12s coming together. And this is a big play for the Big Blue, and Classical's defense would like to shut him down. Woodfork is to the near side. Covered one-on-one. And I don't think they made the first down. Schlafman got the call. And he had to get across the 20-yard line, and I don't think he did.
Tackle was made by number 73, Matt Lorino, and number 45, Chris Mulcahy.
Lorino, Mulcahy.
It'll be 4th and 1.
Also Magner there. As they get to the 19, and Swampscott's going to have to kick it away.
Well, John, then the kickoff return will go down to 79 yards for Gibson, down to the 14, and then penalized back to the 24. But that's 2 touchdowns we've seen taken off the board tonight on penalties.
So Classical looking for good field position as Madden will does get the kick off. Fielded on the fly at the 48-yard line. Kenny Green doing a nice job.
24, Kenny Green. He was run down by a horse and swapped the tacklers. And the Rams will have the ball.
They'll mark it at the 42-yard line.
42-yard line.
So about a 10 or a 12-yard return by Green. The Rams have good field position at the Swampscott 42, but he's still going to be a little bit upset over that call being back. 94-yard touchdown run, Gibson, and he certainly can get it done in a hurry. Call back, and then they turn the ball over. Gibson goes in motion now to the far side. To give to Peralta, and he's hit in the backfield and knocked down.
He was stopped in the backfield by number 83, Matt Cardilli.
Matt Cardilli.
24, Jonathan Schlafman.
Schlafman also helped out as they knocked back to the 46.
The loss of 5 yards of the play will be 2nd and 15. Ball's at the 46-yard line.
Once they let us catch our breath, John, we'll give you some first half stats.
I was going to say, if we ever get a chance, we'll find out how both teams did in the first half. Calvin Johnson is now the tight end to the near side. Gibson goes in motion now back to the far side. Waldron looking to throw. Lets it fly downfield, looking for Calvin. Calvin half slipped and then actually turned to a defensive back to make sure it wasn't picked off.
Who's the genius who blocked on the other side of the field?
Yeah, I know.
Excuse me.
Well, let's set up the next play. We're going to kibitz a little bit with Ray McDermott. And Ray, first of all, congratulations. You know, I said the other day that the Commonwealth Conference had a meeting. They want to try and break St. Mary's up.
Wow. You know, they can if they'd like to try. I don't know about that, but hey, we were on a roll. It's been a nice month so far for us. We hope to continue it tomorrow night.
Well, I think the big thing for you is it's not just one guy doing it. You've got a whole lot of guys doing it both offensively and defensively. And I'm going to let you answer that as soon as we get rid of this play. Waldron dropping straight back, trying to set up the screen. They've got it set up nicely. Blockers out in front. Peralta actually ran by his blockers. Gets into first down territory inside the 30. So they set it up perfectly, Peralta, and there's a case, Paul, where you might want to slow down a little bit, let your blockers throw some.
Well, watch one blocker just fall out front there. One tripped over the other. Got out of his way. It was probably the best thing that happened to the play.
Fellas, we pouring a little salt in the wound. It was Waldron to Peralta there, don't forget.
What do you think we brought you in here for?
How do they look in green?
We want an insight into these St. Mary's players. Who knows? They may transfer back.
Well, I'd like to see that.
Waldron again looking to throw. Downfield, he's got his man. That's Brian Smith.
From Jeff Waldron to number 87, Brian Smith.
So Smith now on the receiving end, inside the 25, we'll call it the 24, pick up a 5. And you know, 500, most people thought you lost, and we just mentioned you lose a Peralta, you lose a Waldron, you lose your quarterback. You've had some guys. I think one of the biggest surprises, I'm sure, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but Eddie Lewis certainly has to be a surprise.
Oh, he certainly has been, and he's really matured week in and week out, and he's to the point now where he's really running the offense for us. I'll let you go to this play, John.
Waldron again looking to throw. Lets it fly downfield, and the receiver got inside Gibson, and the pass was thrown to the outside, so it's incomplete. But you expected, not that Malloy's having a very good year, but Todd Nichols is certainly playing exceptionally well. You've got guys in line, Dunn, Swanson, who are playing exceptional. You're getting a good team effort. That's going to really make you feel good.
Yeah, it certainly does. And like I said, each week they've matured. Each one of them has matured, and they've stepped up a notch each week. And it's been a total team effort. You know, it hasn't been just one person that we're relying on, whether it be Malloy or Nichols. It's a combination of both of them.
Yeah, I did kind of notice you got a few less gray hairs this year than you had in past years. Little confusion in the backfield. The ball's on the ground again. Swampscott says they have it, and they have. The back and the quarterback kind of bounce together, and it's Locke again. Dan Locke with his second recovery in the matter of 6 or 8 plays. So again, the Swampscott offense is turned aside with a turnover as the ball is at the 23-yard line. So still not the big numbers, but if you start putting some wins in, you'll be able to get some more people coming out for your program.
Well, we think so. There's the 7th and 8th grades down there have really burst in the last couple of years, and you know there's some young kids down there that are playing, and Eddie Lewis is still only a junior, as well as Derek Norris and Jason Dunn, who you mentioned. So, you know, we'd have to replace some kids next year, but the skill position will be there, I think.
Madden with the carry. Brian Smith right there to make the hit, and we've mentioned his name a few times, Paul. Brian Smith on both offensively and defensively.
And special teams. He had the long kickoff return, and he did make the 2 blocks that freed Gibson there. Talking to Ray when he came in, he said just what we thought. That call was on the other side of the field, which leads us to ask who's the genius who blocked 30 yards away from the play. But in the heat of the play, obviously, someone hit someone, and from behind, there wasn't a legal use of hands call.
And that play was busted up from the start. Great penetration by, and that's Brian Smith again. Wasn't in on the play, but certainly disrupted everything. Looking to come in for a blitz. They actually lost back, we'll call it a yard, to the 22. And, you know, you talk about that. I can remember, and I'm not going to mention the date as we see the replay. That was Kelvin Johnson also blitzing to getting in there. And Kelvin actually made the stop. I can remember, and it was St. Mary's. Lloyd Westcott against Archbishop Williams. And Lloyd stepped in the end zone with a touchdown that broke Archbishop Williams' long winning streak. And what happened was there was a penalty on the play. Locke with a great catch. What a terrific play that is by Danny Locke. And Jeff Waldron couldn't have done any more. He came together with him. And not a bad throw by McShay either.
He drilled it in there, and as you say, Waldron got there almost simultaneously with Locke. You know, it was just a battle for the ball, and Locke came down with it. Here goes McShay back. He scrambles a little bit, gets his feet, puts something on the ball right there, and could have gone either way. Could have been intercepted, could have been caught. Locke did a nice job taking it away from Waldron.
And that was the same type of play. Westcott went for a long touchdown, scored the touchdown. Everybody was celebrating, and you look back upfield, and 20 or 30 yards back upfield was a flag, and it brought back. And needless to say, St. Mary's did not win that football game. Schlafman bounces off McShay and now actually makes something out of nothing as he takes some people with him into the Swampscott bench to about the 45. So what can we look for now, Ray? You still got a shot at the small conference championship, which would be really nice to see. and you got some games coming up. What's the rest of the schedule look like?
Well, we have Georgetown here tomorrow night. We're just taking it a week at a time. We told the kids 2 weeks ago when they got into the Pope John game and that got into our small school schedule that each game was a championship game for us, and tomorrow is the same thing. Without a win tomorrow over Georgetown, Tingsboro doesn't come about. So tomorrow's a championship game for us, and that's how they've prepared all week.
Okay, well, Ray, I thank you for coming in, and obviously, I wish you luck because it's my alma mater, and it's great to see you turning things around, and it's good to see it. And the big thing is you're doing it with some real good kids because they are off the field. They're performing off the field as well as they are on the field, and it's good to see them turn around, and we hope you keep it going, and good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you, John, and I thank Warner Cable for all of the nice things that have been said about us, and we're real happy. And I told the kids that there are a lot of people out there behind them. You start winning, and the nice things are done for them, and they deserve everything that they get. Thank you very much.
It is kind of better when you're in the win column, isn't it?
Sure is. Thanks, John.
3rd and long for the Big Blue. The give is to Madden. And Brian Smith again making a mammoth play.
And it will be 4th and 8.
And he actually lost about a half a yard in the play, and Swampscott will have to kick the ball away.
Well, great job by the Classical defense, John, especially when you consider how much they've been on the field. In the first half of the 22 minutes, the Swampscott offense was on the field for 16 and a half of the 22 minutes. So the Classical defense has really logged some time, and they've done a nice job.
The snap is a little bit high. Just gets the kickoff again. Classical coming close. It's going to take a bounce out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. And Paul, you talk about adversity and talk about the fact that they're only kids, and you get up for these games, and sometimes the wind can be taken out of your sail. How much more can you get? They score a touchdown with 34 seconds left. You come out and run the kickoff back 94 yards as a flag. You turn the ball over. You get it back. You get touched in territory again with the possibility of scoring, maybe taking the lead. You turn it over again, and the defense just keeps hanging tough. You got to really tip your hat to that Classical defense.
Absolutely.
Three wide receivers to the near side. The pitch. This is Calvin Johnson, and he's not going to get outside. Evan Phillips had a good angle on him and didn't let him get the corner, and they lose back to the 31.
A loss of 8 yards in play. It'll be 2nd and 18.
Actually, lose back to the 26. I'm sorry. So it's a loss of 8 yards, and maybe we might see one of those aerial passes to Calvin Johnson. Waldring dropping back, looking outside. It's complete to Gibson, I think, but not for much yardage. The tackle was made by Locke, and he took the worst end of that. It looked like he might have fallen on his shoulder as he went down, and we certainly hope he's going to be okay. But he was down immediately, and he's still down. You're going to see the replay right here, Paul.
Here's Waldron. Yeah, had some heat. Actually looked like he threw it between someone's hands. Locke with a nice tackle there, and you're right, Johnson just kind of landed on him when he brought him down. It doesn't look to be that serious, though.
Hopefully it's just maybe the wind or something like that.
It looks like that. You see they're pulling his pants up and down from his chest. That could very easily be the wind knocked out.
Well, we have a break. What about the stats you were talking about in the first half?
Well, Swampscott had 86 yards rushing and 56 passing, fairly balanced for 144. Classical really did not have the ball that much. They used the big play to score. They had the 55-yard pass from Waldron to Johnson, and the prior touchdown, remember, they were set up at the Swampscott 12 by the 58-yard kick return by Smith. So as a result, they only come up with, for the half, 91 yards in offense, 74 of it passing on 55 on that one play.
On that one play.
So, they were opportunistic, which is good because that's happened on the other side of the coin for them a few times this year. But the downside of that, as you just talked about, the defense on the field, 16 and a half minutes. they've been on for about half of this quarter so far. It's a little more even, but you have to wonder late in the fourth quarter if it comes down to a tough defensive stand or whatever, how tired that defense might be.
That's for sure. Good look at the classical cheerleaders as we try to touch everything here at Manning Bowl.
Dave McCarthy's really bringing out all the stops tonight, isn't he?
Really going up for everything, yeah. He's already warned us we got to be on our toes. 3rd and 18 as they send Calvin and Kenny Green to the near side. And Swampscott now realizes there's 2 guys out there. They finally send someone out. They only had 1 man covering 2. Looking for the screen pass. To Peralta. They ran it well, but also reading it well was Matt O'Neill, who come up and made the big hit on Peralta.
By number 51, Matt O'Neill. Number 35, Larry Becker, was also in on the stop.
So they get it back to the 31-yard line. They're still 3 yards short, actually 4 yards short of the initial line of scrimmage. And Classical will have to kick it away. Is this their first punt?
They punted once in the first half for 35 yards.
Good high kick back at the 37. The ball's loose on the ground, but a big pickup by Mike Madden. And I don't know if we got a flag or if we had a marker, but Madden got knocked into the Classical bench. And we'll see where they mark the football. They're going to mark it in Classical territory. They'll mark it at the 49. So about a 15-yard return, but that's got a little double dribble had to give Bill Bush a few palpitations on the sidelines. And Swampscott will have their best field position certainly here in the second half at the Classical 49 to start a drive. Madden behind Schlafman in the backfield. Woodfork is the wing back to the far side. McShay looking to throw. Dumps it down to Woodfork. Complete to about the 40-yard line. Kenny Green and Calvin Johnson knock him out of bounds.
The gain of 9 yards from the play will be 2nd and 1. Ball is squatted at the 40-yard line.
2nd down and 1, and they run that play so well, Paul. They just leave Woodfork as a wing back, and they just kind of lose him in the middle of the pack and slips out to the sideline, and it just keeps catching footballs.
Well, as we said many times, it's just so difficult to cover that play because if you play him too tight, he's going to turn it up on you and be open deep.
Madden off the left side. Good surge. Inside the 25. More than enough for the first down. We got a flag.
Right at the tail end, John.
Yeah, that might be a face mask. It's right at the football, which is at the 23-yard line. Madden picked up 17 big yards, and it is going to be against Classical. So that's going to hurt as they put the ball now down at the 12. So the third quarter comes to a close. No scoring. Unfortunately for Kareem Gibson, no scoring. He returned a kick 94 yards that Classical thought they had a score, but they call it back. So we're right where we were at halftime. 13-12 Swampscott. We'll be right back. Back at Manning Bowl, John Hoffman along with Paul Harrell as we start the fourth and final quarter. This is Schlafman banging off a couple of people as he gets knocked down by Keon Coleman inside the 5 to the 4. So this is where Bill Bush would like to have his offense, 2nd and 2 most of the time, or any coach would like to have their offense, especially at the 4-yard line. And our Classical wants a timeout to talk about it. And of course, if you're Dave Dempsey right here, Paul Howard, you're going to be thinking two things. First of all, you don't want to give up the touchdown, but if you do, you don't want to give up 2 points after, because that puts you 2 scores down.
Yeah, and I would think we'll probably see Swampscott go for 1. They've tried 1 both times, but even that, now you're looking at the best you could do is a tie. But long way to go.
Oh, that's for sure. And of course, Glasgow was in this position against Marblehead last week when Marblehead scored and actually went up by 9 after they got the 2-point conversion. And Glasgow came roaring back in the last 3 minutes and scored 2 big touchdowns. One on a fine pass play from Waldron to Johnson, who out-wrestled the defender in the end zone to pick up the pass for the winning score and bring them at the 500 mark. They're 3-3.
Well, this drive has been very easy for Swampscott, John. Only 3 plays. So they had the 9-yard pass to Woodfork, the 17-yard run by Madden, the 8-yard run by Schlafman, and of course they had 11 yards tacked on to the run by Madden for the personal foul. So they start out at the Glasgow 49, 3 plays and a penalty later, they're at the 4.
Yeah, it's, and this is a tough situation for the Rams to be in. They didn't snap the ball too many times, and when they did, 2 of the series, they fumbled the football. And the other time they had to kick the ball away after 3 possessions, 3 downs. The give is to Madden. Bangs inside for a yard, maybe 2. You see Smith getting up. Lorino was in that pile. A lot of green shirts getting around the football. Keon Coleman, the last man to get up. Gibson also down there. From the 3. And they don't have to score. They can pick up a first down, as you see Bill Bush yelling out instructions to his team. 3rd down and a yard as they send Woodfork to the far side. Again, it's Schlafman with Madden behind him, the running backs behind McShay. To give us to Schlafman, he goes airborne up and over and makes the first down. And we get the little sign from Danny Locke.
No, that's a first down.
No, they made the first down.
No measurement.
First and goal from the 1. Actually, about a yard and a half. So everybody in tight. Woodfork is the wingback to the far side. Schlafman and Madden. Madden gets the carry and the call. He's in. You don't have to get in by much. And he breaks the plane, and they're in for the score. So right now, Classical, if they can stop this point after, would be in a position where a touchdown and a 2-point conversion could win it for them. So they're still very much in a football game. And I'm sure Bill Bush is, we're going to see a replay of the touchdown, Paul.
Madden following Schlafman blocked up the middle. Madden, it looked like, broke it up outside in the zone and had a nice individual effort to get in the end zone.
Yeah, Classical stuffed it pretty good inside, and he bounced it to the outside. So good heads up, running with his head up, saw the hole, found it, squeezed through for the touchdown, and McShay will try to add the extra point. Madden is the holder. It's down. They're not going to get it off. Madden tries to throw it, picked off by Glasgow, and he's gone. That's Karim Gibson. Nobody's going to catch him. Long gone as he picked it off right around the 10-yard line and went 90 yards.
That gives Classical 2 points to make the score 1-19,
So we're talking about the scenarios. I don't think we thought about that one, where they're within 5.
We thought we were painting the ideal situation for Classical to be down by only 7.
Dave Dempsey was saying, please block the points so we get a shot at scoring and winning this. But once you look and saw it was number 26, you knew nobody was going to catch him.
What happened, John, it was a bad snap. McShay actually, I thought he got a piece of the ball. He tried to kick it anyway. He must have fanned because Madden picked it up. Here we go.
Here we're going to see
Madden calls for it. It's going to be a bad snap. Fumbles the snap.
Yeah, he missed it.
McShay fanned. Now Madden picks it up. He's going to try to get Schlafman. There's Gibson about the 10-yard line, and he's gone.
Yeah, see you later when he gets it, because surely when you're the dash champion of the state, no one's going to catch you when you pick up the football, and you get a head start on everybody. So Gibson goes 90 yards for 2 points. I'm not sure he's on the sideline saying that's consolation for the 94-yard kick return. He'd rather swap. But at least he gets to go 90 yards. And this one, he turns around, no flags, and it's legal. And Swampscott will kick off. So Classical still very much in this football game.
Madden bothered it.
9:17, plenty of time left, and Gibson is. The one thing that hurts with Gibson running it back 90 yards is he's now going to be on the sidelines when they kick off. He ran the last kickoff back 94 yards, but they've got to give him a little bit of a breather. So he's not the deep man in the middle. And I'm sure, as you see him right there on the sidelines, as Peter Woodfork kicks the football. Fielded at about the 12. Kenny Green straight up the middle. Outside the 35.
24, Ken Green. He was brought down by number 54, Evan Phillips.
We'll call it the 36-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Rams. And well, you think maybe Swampscott might be working a little bit on kickoffs and trying to stop returns. They've been like one step away from running 4 or 5 of these back.
I'm kind of surprised that they continue to kick it deep to these speed burners.
1st and 10 for the Rams. Just over 9 minutes left in the football game. 19-14. Swampscott on top. And good surge by that front line of Classical. And they get it out across the 40-yard line. And that's Gibson with the carry.
Gain of 6 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 4.
We'll call it the 42-yard line, a pickup of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. As Classical has the football, and they trail only by 5 after that exciting run back. And we haven't seen that too many times. Run it back to 2 points by Karim Gibson. Gibson now the wing back to the near side. Big hole off the right side. And Brian Smith just powers his way into Swampscott territory. And he might have been surprised to see that much open room, Paul. He could have driven a truck through that hole.
Sure, and to his credit, he really ran hard here. You see, he gets the handoff. A lot of real estate. Now watch him run hard, put his shoulder down, pick up an extra 3 or 4 yards.
That was a 16-yard run, and it is a 1st down
at the 41-yard line.
At the Swampscott 41-yard line.
17 yards on the pickup by Smith, and they may have found himself a fullback. To give to Smith again. There's a flag on the play as he gets the
fumbled.
Fumble actually picked off by Danny Locke. That's his 3rd fumble recovery. The flag, there's 2 flags, one on the far side, one in the backfield. We have to try and straighten this whole thing out. The officials are getting together to talk about it, as you see right there.
Formation on green, refused, white ball.
Let's go.
Like Hegan told you, illegal formation.
Ball was fumbled by Classical, recovered by Swampscott, number 10, Dan Locke. And Swampscott.
So another turnover and another recovery by Danny Locke. They're going to mark the ball down at the 39-yard line. The Swampscott 39. And in 4 series, Locke has got 3 fumble recoveries. And that's Madden with the carry.
He was brought down by number 44, James Magner.
To the 42-yard line.
Play will be 2nd and 8 from the 42-yard line.
Second down. We'll call it 8. Out at the 42-yard line. 7:20 and counting as Swampscott comes up to the line of scrimmage. You see Todd McShay, the quarterback. McShay looking to throw. Under some pressure, finally lets it, just throws it away, actually.
That's intended for number 10, Dan Locke, is incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 8.
So McShay saw the pressure coming, didn't want to take the loss, and didn't see anybody open, and just let it fly out of bounds. And it'll bring up a 3rd and 8 for Swampscott, and a break for Classical as it stops the clock with 7:04 left in the football game. And it's been a good one on both sides.
Well, John, 5 turnovers for Classical, and they're still in striking distance, so I'd say they're fortunate.
That's for sure. McShay gets hit as he lets it go. It's complete. And credit Todd McShay for staying in there and finding Danny Locke over the middle. And Locke took a hit, but they pick up the first down. That's a big play, as it not only gets the first down, but it keeps the ball in Swampscott's hands, and they were able to run some more time off the clock. And now they've got 4 new sets of downs, as you saw the replay. Locke making the big catch, and Todd McShay just stood in there with a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that was a heck of a job by McShay, John. Not only stood in there, but got the ball off and had something on it.
6.5 minutes left. The handoff to Woodfork in the backfield, not going to go anywhere.
Ball is carried by number 42, Peter Woodfork. He was dragged down by number 22, Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson brought him down, but Coleman made the first hit.
A loss of 3 yards in the play. It'll be 2nd and 13.
They lose back to the 46. Second down and 13. As they bring them out, Locke and Woodfork will come to the near side. McShay has Schloffman and Madden behind him. And I think Swampscott was drawn off that time. Somebody from Classical made a little move, and Swampscott reacted to it. And it's going to cost him 5.
False start here.
Penalties against Swampscott, 5 yards.
And we're hearing Mike Hegan loud and clear now. The ball now back at the 49-yard line of Swampscott.
Well, here we go for the Classical defense, John. 2nd and 18 for Swampscott from now their side of midfield. 5.5 minutes to go in the game and counting. They really need to hold them on this series here and force them to punt.
Yeah, they've got to give their offense some time and a chance to benefit. And they've been playing outstanding all day. This is Schloffman. He's down. He's officially down now, but has Mulcahy and Calvin Johnson kind of make sure he's down, but he was down before that. So they mark it just shy of the 50-yard line. As you see the replay, and there's Mulcahy and Johnson bring him down, but his knee had touched before that. And now, Paul, you coach baseball, but what if you're the coach of the football team? Do you put it up here? Do you take a chance?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yep. With guys like Woodfork on the outside, Locke's caught the ball well, McShay's thrown the ball. Absolutely.
They need 17 yards. They send Locke and Woodfork to the near side. McShay, the quick throw outside to Woodfork, makes a couple of nice moves. We got a flag on the play, and we got to see what that flag is all about. The quick out to Woodfork.
The late flag, John.
Yeah, it was, and I'm not sure if somebody might have come up. It looks like it's going against Swampscott.
Right, green captain. Green captain. They're going to have 4th and
Classical's just going to take the play here, John, because it'll be 4th and long.
Here. Excuse me. Go back here, and it'll be 3rd and about maybe 20 or 4th and 5th. You want to go back?
Why is Classical going to take this penalty, John?
The only thing I can think of is the way the defense is playing, they figure if they hold them on the next down, the punt will give them better field position. It's the only thing I can think of, Paul.
Well, yeah, but, you know, the clock is not their friend.
I understand.
4.5 minutes to go.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I'm not.
White, third down. On a one, right, Chuck? On a one.
It's back at the Swampscott 41-yard line. They now need 27.
It is 3rd and 27. Ball is spotted just outside the 40-yard line.
And the clock is running with 4:20.
Well, you know what? I see the point about field position, but if I'm Classical, I want my hands on the football as soon as possible.
I agree. McShay, the draw play, and they better hurry, make a tackle. They're not going to make the tackle. Woodfork, Mike Madden at 12, not 42. And he makes the first down on the draw play by about a yard. And they set that play, and that's, you watch the play, there was wide open space.
You know, it's easy to sit up here, John, you know, but Classical got what they deserve in that situation. You have a chance to get the football, guaranteed you take the football. It's just that simple. 10 extra yards of field position. It's a case of take a chance, 10 more yards, but give this Swampscott team with a lot of weapons a chance to do something like that.
Yeah, you're giving up 10 yards for maybe a minute on the clock. So with 4 minutes left, I think the clock is more important. But the roll of dice, you take a shot, and as you say, of course, after it's over, it's easy. But we did mention it before.
That's called first guessing.
Yeah, that's right. And that's similar to the same play they ran with Schloffman. They sent everybody wide on 3rd and 27. Classical was looking past all the way. Once he broke the line of scrimmage, it was clear sailing. He had a long way to run, and then Madden fought his way for that extra yard. And in this case, the extra yard meant a first down. And now the clock is running under 4 minutes, and Swampscott can run 4 more downs and run a lot more time off the clock. This is Schloffman, knocked down as he falls inside the 30-yard line as Magna made the stop.
2nd and 8. Ball is spotted at the 28-yard line.
So we'll call it the 29, a pickup of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8, but more importantly, the clock is running, and we're coming up close to 3 minutes left in the football game as McShay brings them up. Locke and Woodfork to the far side. Long count by McShay. Schloffman with the carry gets inside the 25.
I think that was Badgett.
It was Badgett.
Just spelling Schloffman.
To the 24. So it'll bring up a 3rd and a long 3. And 2:40 and counting.
At the 24-yard line, where it'll be 3rd and 3.
The best you're going to do now is get the ball back deep in your own territory with under 2 minutes to go in the game.
Absolutely. And they're not going to do that because Swampscott's going to pick up a first down.
Number 12, Mike Madden carries for the big blue first down.
Out to the 16-yard line.
And number 12, Jeff Walter.
And we're talking actually the 15-yard line. And young Mr. Madden has come in and played himself a fine football game, replacing Traeger DePietro, who got hurt very early in the football game. And he has come out and has been the workhorse and has a slew of carries and a slew of yards. At the 15-yard line, it will be 1st and 10, 2:14 showing on the clock. And obviously, we're going to go back. We did a game here when Gary Millay went for it on 4th down, a yard from his 28. And that turned into everybody the day after talking about it, saying I would have done this or I would have done that. And I'm sure there's going to be some talking about, but you're down there, you you got to make the decision, the coach, and you got to go with whatever he calls. And I'm sure Dave Dempsey thought, in most cases, they're never going to get 27 yards on us. So, you know, and sure enough, up popped the devil. Mike Madden got 28 or 29, and now Swampscott is just methodically running out the clock here.
I have Madden unofficially, John, for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well, Classical snapped it 3 series in the 3rd period. They fumbled twice. They've only snapped it 3 times here, and they fumbled. So they've only had it for 3 plays here in the 4th period.
Badgett.
Yeah, that's Badgett again. And she's going to get down somewhere around the 10-yard line. Referee's timeout. I think
the
2-minute warning is what we're getting.
Again, you know, we talked about this Classical defense has to be exhausted. You know, they've been on the field for this almost the entire 4th quarter, 16.5 minutes of the first half, and done a good job. You know, they really have. But that, again, that's just yet another reason to get them off the field when you have a chance to out of midfield.
Yeah, I agree. You see the time superimposed down your right-hand corner. 2 minutes left, and again I go back to Paul that you know, how much can you take as far as adversity goes? You have the touchdown taken away, you make a couple of nice plays, you look like you're moving the football, and 3 times Danny Locke comes up with fumble recoveries.
Yeah.
And when you're not snapping the ball that many times, you can't afford to put the ball on the ground.
You turn it over 5 times, you know, you really put yourself behind the 8 ball.
The ball is loose.
That's a Madden fumble out of the end zone, John. So
yeah, but
Classical will get the football out at the 20, I believe.
I was waiting to see if they called it that way because he threw a marker down that was marking. He's marking it inside the 5. So Classical thinks they have the football, but I'm not sure what they're calling yet, Paul. They're calling it a Classical ball
at the 2, though.
But at the 2, though. So Classical must have had possession and fumble beforehand.
That's got to be a rule interpretation. The ball definitely was fumbled into the end zone in play, and then it went out of the end zone.
Yeah, because I saw him throw his little beanbag. Watch.
Here we go, Madden.
And watch.
You see the ball bounce and roll. It was in the end zone and then rolled out.
Yeah, and you see the beanbag right there from the official mark a spot, and I'm not sure why that spot is marked. Classical is trying to say, why isn't the ball in if it...
That ball, I think, should be at the 20-yard line.
Well, see, I think what Swampscott's saying is, if it's at the 2-yard line, it's our ball because we had possession last.
Yes.
Classical's saying if it's our ball, it should be at the 20. So you're going to see the replay again. There's the ball right there. He fumbled. He was not in the end zone when he fumbled.
Should be
and
ball at the 20.
Controversy on both sides.
Well, yeah, it's their ball, but I think it should be at the 20.
And Dave Dempsey is trying to get, now he's getting Mike Hegan to come over and talk to him to try and see if he can find out what's going on.
You don't suppose Mike would put his microphone on for this, do you?
He's Mike, so let's see if we can hear him. Well, the only thing I could read on Mike's lips when I read that was that the ball, whatever he's saying if it's fumbled in this position, the ball belongs to the defending team is what I could read. But I still am not, it's not clear to me because in every other instance, if the ball goes out of bounds, it's always the team that last had possession. And if the defense didn't get possession, they don't get the ball. And if they fumble it, and he certainly wasn't in the end zone when he fumbled. Yeah. So Classical has 153, but they've got to go 98 yards to get the winning score. Certainly not anything easy.
I believe they've called a couple of timeouts this half too, John. I think they may have 3.
Calvin Johnson is flanked out here. Waldron was going to try a quarterback sneak. Swampscott got the football. I don't know whether he recovered it or just took it away from Jeff Waldron at the 2. They were trying to squeeze out and give themselves a little more room and trying to catch Swampscott off guard. Possibly, but it certainly backfired, and you would have to think that that will be the ball game. Well, let's see if we can see it here, Paul.
Dropped it.
Never had the ball. Never had the ball. And Larry Badgett. Well, Paul, they've had 5 possessions here in the second half, 4 fumbles. Todd McShay looking to get in. We don't have a sign. They're going to give it to him at the 1-yard line. And the clock is running with 1:30 remaining.
Classical calls timeout. You know, they really have no other choice. But
yeah, they have to do that, but it's not going to do them any good here because the ball is at the goal line. They trail by 5, and Swampscott about to push it in for another score. And even if they don't, Glasgow would have to go 99 yards for the go-ahead score. But it's really tough. This, you know, I don't want to take anything away from the Big Blue. They certainly played a heck of a football game here tonight. And Todd McShay threw the ball really well. And, of course, Mike Madden going over 100 yards. And Schloffman had a big game as well. But you look at the second half and you think of what might have been. Gibson returned the kick 94 yards. There was a penalty. They got set back to the Swampscott 24. Right after that being called back, they fumble the first snap. Locke with his first of 3 recoveries. The defense does the job in holes. They get the ball back. A couple of nice pass plays. They get down to the Swampscott 24-yard line. They fumbled. Dan Locke recovers. They get the ball back. 3 snaps and a punch. Right then they get a little bit of a life. Kareem Gibson picks off an attempted pass for a 2-point conversion after Swampscott scored, and he runs it back 90 yards, and they had a little bit of life. They come right back. They snap it twice. They fumble again to Danny Locke. They get a break when Swampscott turns the ball over at the 2-yard line, and they give it right back on the first play at the 2. So that's been the story here in the second half. And Glasgow, why not take a shot? How much can they penalize you? You're on the goal line now. They can't put it in the end zone. So this, for stat-wise, you got to put in maybe 3/4 of an inch of a yard. You see the time, 1:33 left in the football game. And Swampscott, over a very stubborn Glasgow football team, is going to go to 5-2. Glasgow's going to drop under 500 at 3-3. Glasgow will go to 2-4 in the conference. Swampscott to 4-2 as they line up with McShay. And McShay, with the quarterback sneak, is, we still haven't got a signal, but he's like 4 yards deep in the end zone, so I think we can finally get it. And you look at the score, Paul, and you say 25-12, an easy win for the Big Blue. They score here with 1:25 left in a football game. They score another one with 34 seconds left in the first half. Not as easy as those Swampscott fans think it was, but they've got a lot to celebrate in the way home.
Well, they do, and you know, and they deserve to win the football game.
Yes.
You know, they made fewer mistakes. It was a game that certainly could have gone either way. Classical, just the 6 turnovers with the last one. The key penalty on the kickoff, we don't know how legitimate it was. It was on the other side of the field. There was certainly, you know, no need to have an infraction over there. Whether or not it was a good call, we don't know, but it is a call, and you know that certainly hurt them. And you know, a very bad decision not taking that penalty, not taking the play, and giving Swampscott another chance on 3rd and long.
Todd McShay tacks on the extra point. We got a flag, and I'm not that. I think that's going to be against Classical, I believe. As 1:25 left, personal foul, roughing the kicker against Classical. So Swampscott will kick off at a little bit of field position. And looking at the scoring, it was Swampscott jumping on top first. Schloffman with a fumble recovery, and those certainly caused Glasgow havoc tonight on after they had held Swampscott on the first series. Schloffman recovers at the 36. It takes him 5 yards to go in for the score. It was Madden from 2 yards. 6-0 McShay. The point, it was 7-0. Glasgow came right back and scored on the next 2 possessions. Brian Smith returned the kickoff 58 yards and to the 12-yard line of Swampscott. 4 plays, Kenny Green went in from 8 yards away. It was 7-6. The rush was no good. The defense gave the ball back to Glasgow again at their own 45. 1 play, Jeff Waldron aired it out. Johnson made a great catch on the right sideline, the Glasgow sideline, cut it back to the middle, wound up going to the far side, just get in the end zone as Madden made the tackle, and it was 12-7. And then things started to fall apart. Late in the game, they went 61 yards. Swampscott did in 8 plays. 34 seconds left. McShay finds Woodfork sliding in the end zone, the left side, 13-12. A bad snap. The point is no good, and it was 13-12 at halftime as Swampscott will kick off from the 50-yard line. And then it really fell apart. It looked as it was going to be a great start, momentum, get back for Glasgow as Gibson, a very exciting runner, a very exciting run back, 94 yards. Looked like it was 18-13. Up popped the yellow handkerchief, and he came back. And then after that, it was just about every time that. And there's another recovery by Swampscott as Peter Woodfork came up with the football himself. They didn't go to the burners down deep. Bounced off a lineman, and Peter Woodfork recovers. And they're at the 36-yard line. That's what, the 7th fumble recovery is to see Woodfork just beat everybody to the football. And now it's going to be Swampscott running out the clock, as that is probably going to be the last play. So Swampscott will make it 10 out of 11 in the series. They go on top 23-19 overall. They move to 5-2 overall. Glasgow will drop to 3-4. And a tip of the hat to Mike Madden, who filled in for Traeger DePietro, who got hurt very early in the football game. Had a big day, going 121 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And Glasgow, the defense again, and the offense. A lot of shining lights for the Glasgow Rams. And unfortunately, those turnovers, as Dave Dempsey knows better than anybody, can come up to haunt you. All the coaches in the Northeast Conference, that's what they don't want, are the turnovers. And unfortunately, Glasgow had 8 of them. 5 of them coming in the second half. Danny Locke with 3 fumble recoveries, had a terrific game on defense. But a very nice football game to start our TV3 Sports Sunday off on, as the final score 26-12. Swampscott turns back the Glasgow Rams, and it will be a pleasant ride back to Swampscott for the team and their fans. Good night from Manning Bowl.